Hey everyone, Lisa Salvatore here with the weekly astrology and energy report for Sunday, April 3rd through Sunday, April 10th. Let's dive right in. The mantra for this week ahead is focus on the outcome and not the obstacles. At least we can try to do that. Sometimes very hard to do that, but we may definitely feel some obstacles this week in pushing forward with our plans, whether they come in to us from the outside or they're just self-imposed limitations and obstacles. But on the positive side, we can have a tremendous amount of drive and energy. We're coming off of a new moon in fiery Aries that took place on April 1st. Happy April, by the way. Welcome, new month. I hope everybody has a wonderful month. Now, this new moon took place on Friday, April 1st. It was conjunct Chiron and Mercury. And so, when we're dealing with the sun conjunct Chiron, it does tend to bring up or poke at our sensitive spaces, our most sensitive spaces from long, long ago, in some cases childhood, and things come up and they just resurface, and it's like pouring a little bit of salt on a wound that we thought was closed. And so that's what a Sun Chiron conjunction can feel like. And so if you have been feeling highly sensitive, highly emotional, this is one of the many reasons what can be adding to that. But let's keep going further and unpack this day by day. Today, Sunday, April 3rd, the moon is in Taurus and it is conjunct Uranus. And so the moon in Taurus does very well. It's in the sign of its exaltation. There's something cozy and homey and content and comfortable about the moon when it's in the sign of Taurus. But Uranus is also in Taurus, and Uranus is a planet of discomfort and change and sometimes erratic behavior and unforeseen changes. And so when we've got Uranus in Taurus, it's not very comfortable. The moon in Taurus is very comfortable, and the moon in Taurus and Uranus are going to meet up. And so again, there could be some surprising emotional revelations for you. This could have something to do with the Chiron Sun conjunction I just talked about. Emotional things coming up for you to look at, for all of us to explore and to unpack, to bring us forward into a better space. Now, I say this because as we start the week off, it can feel even more emotional. But again, the moon is in Taurus, which does help to stabilize those emotions. But the moon in Taurus will square off with both Saturn and Mars in Aquarius. And so that can definitely feel like a hard stop kind of an energy as we're gearing up towards an exact conjunction of Mars and Saturn. It's operational right now, so we are feeling that. And this could be adding to those feelings of frustration that can start this week off. On the positive side, our creative juices can definitely be stirred as that moon in Taurus is also lining up gently with Neptune in Pisces, and also Jupiter in Pisces and Jupiter and Neptune are in an operational conjunction, bringing in this sensitive, intuitive, compassionate energy, but it also can make things, meaning our emotions, bigger than life. So again, all signs are pointing to a very emotional week ahead. And we've also got that moon in Taurus trining Pluto in Capricorn. And so again, this could be helpful when we're dealing with the deeper issues. This gives us the promise that when we go into those spaces, when we go into those wounds that we feel define us, we actually come out in a better space because we're able to work through them more clear and more quickly by going deep. Now, as if Monday is not busy enough, that Mars-Saturn conjunction will hit exact around 9:30, 9:45 Monday evening. And so this might be the time you get that email that says, hey, no, you can't go on that trip, or, oh, sorry, this project's getting delayed another 3 weeks, or whatever it is. But don't spin out and don't flip out, because it doesn't mean it's stopped. It just means it's delayed. So just think about having to make a little readjustment to the course, but it doesn't mean that it's stopped. That moon is also going to square Venus in Aquarius. It, of course, has to do something difficult to Venus before Venus moves into Pisces. So we got to get one last jab at beautiful, loving Venus and our heartstrings before the moon moves on into chatty and communicative Gemini on Tuesday, the 5th. Tuesday the 5th. Now, Tuesday the 5th, Venus enters Pisces. Now, Venus loves to be in Pisces. She is in the sign of her exaltation here. She is free in her expression of love and beauty and compassion and empathy. And she's joining the party because Jupiter and Neptune are also in Pisces, and Jupiter and Neptune are getting closer and closer to an exact conjunction. And this brings in a really heightened, intuitive, emotional, and sensitive energy, for better or for worse. But Venus is the planet of pleasure. It's love, it's beauty, it's money. It's how we emote. It's how we like to be in our relationships. It's how we like to receive affection and give affection. And when she's in Pisces, she's she's sweeter. And not everyone's comfortable with that energy, but Venus herself is very comfortable in Pisces. So the overall collective energy can feel a lot more sensitive, for better or worse, emotional, for better or worse, and heightened awareness intuitively. So that's on the 5th. And then the 6th also serves to be a kind of chill, sweet, compassionate day, but again, emotional, and that can go either way. The sun is in harmony with the moon in Pisces. The sun in Aries is in harmony with that moon in Gemini, and then the moon in Gemini is in harmony with Mercury in Aquarius. So we've got the sun and the moon in harmony on Wednesday. The moon is also trining Saturn, which is super supportive for our projects and our plans and our discipline. But that moon is also squaring off with Jupiter, so we want to be careful not to overdo anything and not to overpromise and not to overstep, because it is still a little wacky up there in the heavens, so we just want to remain calm and conscious. The moon is also squaring Neptune, which can sometimes be a little emotionally confusing and things may not always be as they seem, so it's important to really dot your T's and cross your I's. Dot your T's and cross your I's, moon square Neptune. And the moon is also trining Mars. This gives us a nice energy for Tuesday and Wednesday. And then we get to Thursday, April 7th, and this is the day that you want to communicate your truth in a very detached but loving manner. The truth shall set you free on April 7th. Mercury is in a sextile to Saturn, so again, our communication can come from that objective space because there's a lot of emotional energy right now. And so if you're feeling like there's something that you need to say or there's some words that you need to get out, and then you find that on Thursday you just feel a lot lighter or more detached or in a clearer headspace to be able to do so, go with it because the energy is supporting that emotion. And then the moon moves into sensitive Cancer on that very same day, not long after that Mercury-Saturn sextile. So moon moves into Cancer, and it kind of makes us feel more tired in a way, or more soggy, a little more moody. Whenever the moon goes into Cancer, the overall tone tends to get more sleepy, but also more empathetic. And we've got a whole lot of Pisces energy going on. So again, this emotionality can kick back up now as we move on throughout Thursday. The moon will also trine Venus in Pisces, which is super sweet, super romantic, super compatible with other people. And we really do desire to understand ourselves and others on a much deeper level. But Mars, the planet of action and power and will and force and drive, and also fighting, is going to be in a hard aspect with the nodal axis, the nodes of the moon, which are points of fate. This is where the eclipses occur. So the nodal axis is in Taurus and Scorpio, and Mars is in Aquarius. So Mars is going to square that nodal axis. And so because we're still under that Mars-Saturn energy, there's a lot of emotional energy this week. Mars squaring the nodal axis could be something very frustrating that does change our trajectory for better or worse, where we're not allowed to do the very thing we thought we could do. And this could be pertaining to our relationships, okay? Any type of relationship. So we want to watch out for that and pay very close attention to what is being presented to us, whether it's literal or whether it's coming through, whether it's coming in psychically with all the Pisces energy that we've got going on and the moon in Cancer. So we want to keep this in mind because we will get a glimmer of something, for better or worse, that can help us to define where we're going next, or where we're not going next, more importantly. And it's super important to remember under this energy that the truth shall set you free. Now, as long as you're handling everything in honesty and integrity, when we get to Friday, April 8th, Jupiter, jolly, expansive, and buoyant Jupiter, is going to sextile the north node, which is nice because that means, okay, maybe you can't do this, but we're going to show you what you can still do, what's still available to you, and what's in your best interest when you follow the path of your true north, because that's the north node, the true north, the calling of the soul's destiny. And the moon is lining up with Uranus nicely. So again, the moon and Uranus together, it's like these emotional revelations or seeing things differently, intuitive brilliance coming in to help push us forward for where we need to go. I see this happening a lot in my sessions lately, my one-on-ones with people, where they're feeling like there's something that came up that was like a hard stop, hard no, very depressing, very limiting. I had it happen in my own life. And then all of a sudden, something else comes out, almost like out of the heavens, right? That's this energy. It's like you get these gifts when you're doing something with the right intentions, or not even with the right intentions, but not with the wrong intentions. Okay, let's say it that way. When you're doing things in the highest space, in highest integrity, in highest order, as far as you know, and it doesn't work out, you have to trust, and that's Jupiter. Trust in something bigger, trust in the unseen, trust in the divine, trust in your faith, because without faith we have nothing, right? And so it's really important to keep sight of that at this time, because there's so much else going on for everybody, independently, personally, out in the world, and we need to keep sight of faith, that one word, okay? And on this day, on April 8th, we've also got Mercury sextiling Mars. And so again, there could be some communications that are very beneficial that come in around this time. You know, remember, when you do good, good comes back, right? I believe that anyway. When you don't do good, I'm not saying good does not come back, because that's not the way the world works, and we know that, and sometimes things can seem unfair, but don't focus on what seems unfair. Try to focus on what can still seem fair for you and what new good things are coming into your life, into your reality, by way of releasing what has not worked out for you. And try to honor it for what it is, and try not to get too upset over it. What's that saying? Don't cry over spilled milk. I know that it's hard. I know that it's very challenging to not get upset over things that we really want that don't work out for us, but there's something about having that trust in the space of there's something better for me. And then we get to Saturday, April 9th, and the moon is going to trine Jupiter, which is really nice, and again, very helpful and beneficial for our emotional world and for helping us see things more clearly, the good that's still available. It's also going to trine Neptune, which is really sweet and supportive, also psychically revealing, especially in the dream space, as we've been talking about for weeks. Speaking of dream space, I want to address this because I've been getting a lot of questions on this, and I think I might have mentioned this a few months ago, but I might not have. Jupiter and Neptune are in Pisces. Pisces is a water sign. Jupiter is the planet that implodes and expands things. And Neptune is, you know, it can be illusory in some ways, but it can also be very beautiful and very romantic and very, you know, rose-colored glasses and dreamy. And so when we've got Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces, which is water, literally the dream space is very active anyway without this conjunction. But besides that, we're dealing with water energy. So people are dreaming about water quite a bit. I mean, I've had several water dreams myself the past couple of weeks, and I know a lot of others have had the same. And so this is maybe a little bit of a reason as to why. And so pay very close attention to what comes up in that dream space, especially when it's a fear-based dream, because that is definitely your fears playing out in your subconscious, or through your subconscious, I should say. But I bring that up because on the 9th, that moon is going to be in those aspects with Jupiter and Neptune, which can definitely ramp up that water theme, whether it's in the dream space, whether it's literally, but there's something here about water, and we know water is also emotion. So again, lots going on. And then the moon will square off with Mercury, so we may find ourselves being hurt by the words of another, or we ourselves may be the ones to hurt another through our words. So we want to watch our mouth, because words hurt. Words can also heal. So we can also use this energy to help heal another through our words. So let's try to keep it constructive and keep it that way, and maintain that space of the Pisces compassionate energy, because that moon is also going to oppose Pluto, and that can feel very intense. And that can make us feel like we're being poked at, whether that's true or not. We could feel like someone's got their finger on our hottest Achilles heel button. It's like, no, I don't want to go there, and they make you go there, and you blow up, and want to watch out for that too, because then that moon's going to move into Leo. And so we know when the moon goes into Leo, it can be dramatic, it can be vivacious, courageous, better or worse. So it's a big energy, it's not small. So as we move up towards the 9th and the 10th, we're going to get into that space of bigger, more dramatic energy, not as quiet. It's going to become more sparked. And then on Sunday, the 10th, Mercury is going to square off with Pluto. And so yes, that's intense when Mercury and Pluto dance off like this in a square, because Mercury is the way that we think, the way that we speak, the way that we communicate. And Pluto is the stuff that we don't really want to look at. It's kind of gross, and it makes us feel, unhinged in a way. And it can be very psychologically disarming. It doesn't have to be, but it can. It can also be very revealing in a positive manner. And so when we're dealing with Mercury and Pluto by a square aspect, that's a harsh aspect. And so again, this brings back that energy of words can hurt, words can heal. It's the same thing, like emotions can hurt, emotions can heal. Going into old spaces emotionally that we don't want to, that can heal us actually. And in fact, a communication from another could actually bring us to that space, but then ultimately it brings in healing. And then Mercury will enter Taurus after being in Aries for the past couple of weeks. Mercury is now going to enter Taurus on April 10th. at 10:10 p.m. And when Mercury moves into Taurus, the planet of the mind, becomes very methodical. And so we tend to slow down with Mercury when it enters Taurus. And while Mercury has been in Aries, there's been this push forward momentum with all of our energies and communications. And then when it goes into Taurus, it just kind of slows down and gets more methodical. It doesn't get washed out necessarily, but it's not as active as when Mercury is in Aries. And that will start the next week's energy report. So I will be back with more for that starting on April 10th. I hope you all have a great week. Stay in your space of calmness and just know that it is highly emotional out there. So if you are crying more than normal or thinking of things in a much more profound and deep manner than you ever have before, and maybe that's uncomfortable for you, just sit with it. Know that this is the energy. We're all here. So take really good care of yourselves, and I will be back next week with the energy report. Bye, guys.